Hey everybody, wanted to welcome you back to Lee's Wood Shop. Just kidding, this is Gordon to Lee. But welcome here anyway. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. So instead of just talking about some of the things that we get excited about, today I decided to go over something that I've been asked about a lot. So it was probably a few months, 5-6 months ago. I know that squirrel picnic tables started getting exciting. They were all over Instagram, all over Facebook. People thought they were kind of kitschy and cute and stuff like that. And it was probably 2 months ago, 3 months ago maybe, that my wife said that she wanted one. I thought they were cute and I like to build things, so I thought, hey, why not? I'll give it a shot. So I went online, looked up a few different things, and then kind of started tweaking with it a little bit. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna break down kind of the specs on the pieces, how I cut them, how I made them, and then just give you an idea of how to kind of put them together really quick with simple stuff that you'd have in any sort of garage or small kind of workshop. You don't need any big power tools if you don't want them. You don't need anything like that. So without further ado, we'll jump right in it, and then we'll get started. Make sure, just like always, if you like the video, if you're watching it, make sure you throw a like down at the bottom. It kind of helps out with the YouTube algorithm anyway. And then also snap that subscribe button. I'm gonna be putting more and more videos on here about different woodworking projects, that sort of thing, but also some of the things that we've been talking about, some of the things I'm interested in, some of the things I think you guys are interested in. So, snap that like and go ahead and hit the subscribe. So let's jump in. Okay, so I've gathered everything together that you need to build this. I'll go over the measurements and the dimensions and stuff like that really quick. I'm also not going to show you me cutting everything in person or anything like that. I really need to focus on the cutting when I do it, but I want to show you the end product. I'll also spin it around to kind of show you the breakdown. I'll have a list of all the products that I use, all the tools or the wood and stuff like that, the dimensions down at the bottom, but I'm also going to show them to you here. So as you can see, not only do the squirrels love the picnic table, as you can see, there's two of them hanging out there, but they're super easy. The construction is real simple. I have a couple of different ones here, and I wanted to show you both of them just because I made one with dimensions that were a little bit smaller, and then I made one with dimensions that were a little bit bigger because I thought it would add to the picnic table a little bit. But what you can see here, I have safety glasses, as always with cutting anything, a tape measure for the measurement of the pieces. I used wood glue. I used Titebond III for my wood glue just because it gives you a little bit more play time when you're putting the pieces on there. You can move them around a little bit more before it gets rock solid. And then also any old saw. This is a crosscut saw, so it'll cut it both ways when you're cutting down and out, but you can use any real saw. Now, this is also a table saw. You don't have to have a table saw. I have one. I also have a miter saw, so I used them, but you can use anything. So I wanted to kind of break it down a little bit for you too. As you can see, and I'll try to keep this all in the frame, the construction of the piece is what you would expect any sort of picnic table to be. I just have the basic cross pieces. I have the seat pieces, and then the top piece that you would normally put your food on. So when I went to come up with the dimensions of everything, you kind of see like this piece here, of course, is longer. The legs, I just cut them at a 45-degree angle, so it fits on the top and the bottom. And then the seat, along with the tabletop, these are exactly the same dimension, length, width, everything like that. And then I have two support pieces, right? So I'm gonna pull this one aside and just go right into the other one. Now, this is the one that I like a lot better. It's a little bit taller. It gives us a little bit more, we can kind of see the different parts a little bit better. And then on top of that, I think it gave a little bit more room for the squirrels to kind of sit down. And then the idea is that the squirrels will sit there, just like I had them in the stuffed animal ones. And then you would put, people put corn on there, people put a corn cob on there, apples, any sort of piece that you want, you put it on there, the squirrels sit there, gives you a real cute look. And then on top of that, they get to eat whatever snack you want to give them. In addition to this, you take this part of the table, which I'll get a better angle on a little bit. And this is the part that you're gonna hook to a tree, right? So I played around with it a little bit, having a couple pieces of scrap wood and kind of putting them in here, attaching it to this, just putting it on here, just to give me a flat space. and then you basically just screw it into the tree or attach it however you want to. You can put this on top of a branch if you have a tree that has a branch, and then you can kind of secure it that way. You want it to be secured enough so that the squirrels will sit on it and not get scared by it moving or anything like that, but also it needs to stay there essentially while it's outside. So it needs to be secure that it's not gonna blow away in the wind or anything like that. So now I'm gonna go over kind of the breakdown of how we got to this point, and then kind of go from there. So here we have the table again, and I just want to kind of break down the pieces. So once it gets together, and once you put one together, you're going to realize just how simple it is as far as how everything kind of goes together and works. Now in this particular piece, I used exclusively the Titebond III wood glue, and you can kind of see it there. Now this is obviously unfinished in that it's not going to have, I haven't stained it yet. That's going to be kind of my next project with it. I plan on getting the stain on it just so that it weathers a little bit better outside, and then I can get it protected, also change the color of it. The other one I have is a blue color. I think we're going to go with the gray on this one. But either way, it doesn't seem to affect the squirrels and them enjoying whatever treat you gave them. So I want to kind of break down each particular piece on it. Like I said, the seat and the tabletop are all exactly the same. I used 2-inch pieces. I actually sanded them down. They're about 1.5 inches at this point. But I ended up having just some scrap wood lying around that I ended up cutting. I had some trim pieces from a different project. You can also buy just, standard issue, any kind of trim. In fact, the same board is used for every piece on this. So you end up buying, a 6-foot, 8-foot board, whatever it is, and you can make a couple of tables out of it. So basically, and I think I said 2 inches, these are actually 1.25 inches. But either way, it's enough to get a seat for the squirrel to sit on, and then also enough for the space on the top. So these are 8 inches here, and you have 7 of them. 1, 2 for each seat, and then 3 for the top. I used the same board down here, like I said, and these are just supports for the legs, and those end up being 3.5 inches. They just have to be wide enough to not overhang the top of the table, and then they just glue to the legs themselves. And then these things support the bench so that the bench doesn't sag down when you put it on there. And that's 12 inches. So you have 2 at 12, you have 7 at 8 inches, you have these 2 small ones at 3.5, and then I used 8-inch pieces for the legs, cut at a 45-degree angle. So when you attach them together, you're essentially putting them so they don't overhang the tabletop, like you see here, and then they end up touching themselves, making a nice V. So I glued it to the bottom, to the underside of the tabletop. I glued it to my support piece, and I also glued the leg itself to the support piece that's glued to the top of the table. So I put as much glue as I needed on there. It'll be stronger than screws, the glue will anyway, and it'll more than support the squirrel and then any type of food you put on there, which is really what I'm looking for. I may play around. I put some brad nails in the other one that I made just because I wasn't sure on the construction of it, but this seems to be faring well for me, so I'm gonna stick it to that. So then you want to make sure that everything is level, make sure that the legs are all the same, make sure that the bench tops are all the same length, make sure that the tabletop pieces are all the same length, and then you're basically golden. And then you have the squirrel picnic table. Obviously, like I had on there, I sanded this down pretty good. I did my rounded edges in that I just took a sandpaper and rounded kind of the edges when I was sanding it. I wanted to make it smooth so that the squirrels were comfortable, I guess. I put a smidge gap in between the table just so that the legs, just so that you get water on it. It doesn't stay on the top, it runs through like it should. And then of course, like I said, it's gonna be attached to a tree. So for the most part, you see the part list again. I'll show you again the wood dimensions that I used, but being 7 of them at 8 inches, 4 legs at 8 inches cut on 45-degree angles, 2 bench supports at 12 inches, and then I have leg supports on the top where it's connected to the tabletop anyway at 3.5 inches. And that's your entire squirrel picnic table. And like I said, I used a piece of trim that I had lying around from a different project that I was working on, and I just ended up cutting it into all the pieces that I needed. In fact, this is almost enough board left to make another picnic table, which may be coming down the road as well. Made these for our in-laws, made them for ourselves, and then they're fun. It's just kind of a fun kitschy thing to do, and like I said, my wife loves them, so she loves squirrels anyway. So she loves the idea of the picnic table. So you may see another one coming down the road if you ever end up visiting or anything like that. Super easy to make. Takes about, other than actually cutting and sanding the wood, maybe half an hour at tops. Takes about an hour for the wood glue to dry. I gave it overnight. I used clamps in between the pieces just to hold the wood glue in place. If you have clamps, that works too. You can put something heavy on it as well. I put the entire thing together all at once. You can instead, glue it in parts. Glue the bench seats down to the support, glue the support to the legs to the tabletop, something like that too. So you don't have to do it all at once, but whatever you can do to secure the glue, give it a little bit of time to dry, and you should be good to go. So hope you enjoyed the video. Good luck making them. If you have any questions on it, shoot them below in the comments. Appreciate you watching. Make sure you hit that like button if you made it to this point for sure. Go ahead, tap that subscribe. We're gonna have more woodworking projects in here. We also have some discussion points that we talk about and a couple other things as well. So, I'm glad you came here. Hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Stay safe out there.